We've been wondering, will any Republican say anything? We're not even expecting them to do anything, just say something about Marjorie Greene and her calls for the execution of her political opponents, all of that. And hey, we've got a little bit. Senate Minority Leader, that feels good to say. Mitch McConnell on Monday blasted Georgia GOP Representative Marjorie Greene's embrace of loony lies and conspiracy theories as a quote, cancer for the Republican Party. He goes on to say, somebody who suggested that perhaps no airplane hit the Pentagon on 9/11, that horrifying school shootings were pre-staged, and that the Clintons crashed JFK Jr.'s airplane I hadn't even heard about that one, is not living in reality. This has nothing to do with the challenges facing American families or the robust debates on substance that can strengthen our party. That last bit is absolute nonsense. He has no interest in any of that. But he did call her someone who believes loony lies and conspiracy theories. Now, before you give him even just a little bit, a couple little nibbles of lettuce of credit, he doesn't actually mention her by name, but he is very specifically and obviously talking about her. So like, for him to be the first one really to say anything is to like stick his neck out of his shell is a little bit of bravery, but he's also doing it in like, God, you're doing that in a cowardly way, but it's all that we've got. So I guess a little bit of credit for Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. How sick must it make him, not just to not be in charge anymore, but to have the word minority in his title? It must just make him sick to his little stomach.
John, did you say give him a bite of lettuce because he looks like a turtle?
I didn't say that last part.
You said give him a little bite of lettuce. You know, he is a coward. And it's so funny, right when you think he might step up and do the right thing, he doesn't. He does it like a half attempt to do it. And this woman was elected. Okay, that doesn't mean she needs to have any power and be given any prestigious positions. They should have known, the GOP should have seen this coming, should have seen that she was a Looney Tune coming into Congress. She got voted in Georgia. Georgia is a very diverse state, we're finding out. And I think what's really, well, we'll get into a little bit more about the unnamed person, Marjorie, but I'm not surprised that he's gonna come forward. But what I really think is happening is the GOP is really lost right now. They don't know if they should be pandering to the Marjorie Taylor Greene types, or are we done with her? Can we go back to old school Bush Republicans? Where are we at here? And they're still trying to figure out, and they want to see who's going to be carrying them across to the next political office that they want to hold. And so they're just throwing stuff out to the wind and seeing what takes. McConnell was okay with convicting Trump, saying it was his fault. Now he's not. Yep. So they want to know what's going to get him elected, and that's disgusting. Right now, we need politicians and people in power. Our leaders need to be leaders. They need to do what's right by the country and right for their constituents. And somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene is not good for the country. She's hurting people. We're having to have people relive the trauma of these school shootings just to prove that it happened. Talk about gaslighting. I mean, it's been years now. We only haven't had a school shooting recently because we haven't had school.
Exactly, and they're trying to get them back in as soon as possible. She did respond, tweeting, "The real cancer for the Republican Party is weak Republicans who only know how to lose gracefully. This is why we are losing our country." So I want to address quickly both of those parts, because who only know how to lose gracefully. Okay, so you don't like Mitch McConnell. I mean, I guess he won re-election, but who has been losing gracefully? Well, since 2016, in 2016. They controlled the presidency, they controlled the Senate, they controlled the House. After 4 years of the man she worships as a living God being president, they don't have the White House, they don't have the Senate, they don't have the House. He was the leader of the party. Any victories they got, they said were due to him, ipso facto, and Green, you can Google that. Theoretically, the losses are on him as well. So, I mean, granted, it doesn't really apply to what she said because he's never done anything gracefully. He can't even drink a glass of water gracefully, let alone lose gracefully. But he did lose. Of course, she doesn't accept that. She lives in a world where everything is whatever you want it to be. So she still insists that Trump actually won by a landslide. But you'll note that he's not in office anymore, Marjorie. So while you might maintain that thought, it doesn't give him any actual power. So look, she's gonna respond being strong in the face of these inconvenient things like reality or how you raise money as a Republican. I hope others will come out and support McConnell in this effort. I don't like any form of the Republican Party, but one that is just openly give us your flat earthers, give us your snake people, give us your whatever. I'm less interested in that one.
I'm really afraid, actually, John, because I think people underestimate just how many people believe in these Looney Tune conspiracy theories like Marjorie Taylor Greene. For every Marjorie Taylor Greene, there's 10 people that believe it, but they don't say anything on Facebook. They just read the posts that she puts. They watch the video of her bullying Hogg, his name is Hogg, the Parkland guy. They I don't even understand the wildfire anti-Semitic. Really, I don't even understand what she's saying there. So but people are reading this stuff, and we know how these conspiracy theories take off. They give them a little tidbit of truth. People go and they look it up. Oh, that was true. So then the rest must all be true. And so this is a really dangerous place for our country to be in, because it's not just one Marjorie Taylor Greene. There's so many people like her out there, and we saw them right there storming the Capitol. And then for every person that was at the Capitol, there's 10 at home that were cheering them on. So this is something we need to take seriously. This is why Mitch McConnell needs to not take a half stab at it. He needs to come out. He needs to name it for what it was and do what AOC did. Call out the facts and the truth. And he's too afraid to do it. Why? Because he is trying to hold on to this vestige of power that he once had. And if she thinks that Trump really won the election, then how do we know her election was real? Why is it that their election was real, but his wasn't? This is not adding up, people.
No,
maybe we need to have a new election for you, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Maybe we need to know if you really won. Let's hold a recall election. See.
Maybe.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.